Welcome into this edition of Locked On 76ers. Keith Pompey, Marc Farzetta. We're going to break it all down when it comes to VJ Edgecombe. Hey, welcome officially to the 76ers. You play well, and then you sit with an injury. Feels like he really has been welcomed in, Keith. We'll break that down when we return on this edition of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome in once again to Locked On 76ers, your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This particular episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Keith Pompey, beat writer for the 76ers. Marc Farzetta here, host on the Locked On Sports Network. Keith, I sat there last night. I know we did an instant reaction short, if you will, on the Locked On 76ers channel, which you should all be liking and subscribing to and all that. I described it as Christmas morning. You walk downstairs, no presents. That's how disappointing I was. I didn't get to see VJ Edgecombe try to take that step forward. What can you tell us about the injury? And should we be worried about whether or not he'll be in the lineup tonight in the Utah finale against the Grizzlies?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I wish I was there. I didn't make the trip to Utah this year so I could figure it out and find out what's going on. But based off of, the comments and everything or the information that the team is providing, he does have a thumb contusion. The bruise is not considered serious. They held him out because of an abundance of caution, and he is listed day-to-day moving forward. To me, when you go back and you listen to his interview after the first game, and he says, we're getting ready for Vegas. And then, we got another game. To me, it looks like this is something all about caution. Again, I'm not there. But when you think about it, if this was a regular season game or was anything else, he would most likely play, right? He would just most likely play. I feel like when you talk about that, the 76ers are going to play at least 7 games in total with the 2 summer leagues, and he has a little bruise on his hand. It's one of those things where, they're just going to rest him for a couple of days, day to day, because let's face it, nothing against the Salt Lake City Summer League, but everyone wants to see him raring to go in Vegas, right? That's when the league is going to be there, and I feel like that, right now it's just all about making sure he gets the rest, and he's going to play in certain games, marquee games, and he'll be ready to go for the regular season. So, you know what? Get rest right now, play in marquee games in the Vegas Summer League, possibly play tonight, but also make sure he's going to be able to play in those marquee games, because nowadays, these top players, you get them in, you rest them, and you get them out, and then that's it for Summer League, because it's all about the regular season.
That's interesting you say that. In his post-game interview after he dropped 28 and pulled down 10 boards in his first game and only game to this point, he did misspeak and said, well, we're just concentrating on Vegas. And I'm like, oh, what was that? Like, what? Exactly. No one's ever confused Utah for Vegas. So something just seemed off. And it wasn't like a slip of the tongue or anything like that. It was like that's where he was already focused on. So based on what you just said, when it comes to the abundance of caution, and the 76ers track record of handling rookies, he's not playing. I do not see him playing. That's what my gut tells me on that. What does your gut tell you about whether or not he's in the lineup tonight?
The same. I'm with you. You know what I mean? And if he really wants to go, possibly. But when we look at it, them having games on back-to-backs, he wasn't playing. And then here's another thing. The guy, Hunter Silas, the guy that I said I really want to look forward to seeing him play and do a lot of different things. He played yesterday, but he didn't play in the first game. So you understand what I'm saying? So to me, all this is it could be planned, right? That, okay, we'll have you go out and play this game and then rest the next one. But yeah, you don't want this guy to play on back-to-back games if he doesn't have to, and especially if he has like a bruise on his hand. He would love to do it, but we're in the era of load management and all this other stuff and being cautious. The worst thing you want is for one of your top players or the third overall pick in the draft to get injured. You don't want that.
Certainly. Oh, by the way, while we are shouting out guys that didn't play in game 1 but played in game 2, Andrew Funk, Archbishop Wood's own, got into the game last night, 9 minutes, hit a 3. Not to brag, Keith. Not to brag.
Yeah, it was funny. I was watching and I was thinking about you. I was like, yo, man, they need to put Funk back in. Give him some more minutes. Give him some more minutes.
Give me more Funk. Funk never hurt anybody. Let's go. In all seriousness, though, it did feel like that. And the fact that we're talking about back-to-backs in the Summer League just feels like the most Sixers thing ever. But when we did sit down, the news came across the broadcast. It was one of the first things they pointed out on ESPN. It was like, oh, by the way, we kind of realized everybody's here to watch VJ Edgecombe maybe repeat his performance from game 1 or take that step forward that you and I talked about on yesterday's show. What's next for him? What can we expect for him next in Summer League? Because even if we get the same type of game, that's a great sign for him. Maybe a little bit more comfort in running the point for the 76ers. That'd be a nice little baby step forward for him. But I'm sitting there, and I just thought when they announced he wasn't playing, my first thought was, this is so 76er. This is so 76ers. Right, and it reminded me a lot. And when the game started and we're watching the first quarter, it was like you really were watching the final 25 games of last year where, hey, the star, albeit Summer League star and a rookie, he ain't playing because of an abundance of caution, because of an injury. And then you're watching this team pretty much be unable to throw the ball in the ocean for the vast majority of that first half, unfortunately. When you shift gears away from VJ Edgecombe and all that news, were there any takeaways you look at from last night that gave you, I don't know, any good vibes going forward?
The guy we talked about yesterday and you guys got to check out our shorts because we did a post-game short, so make sure you check that out as well. But a guy that we talked about yesterday was Jalen Hood-Schifino. The first game he had 8 assists, right? And and then this game, I believe he had 19 points, 17 or 19 points. So to me, outside of Edgecombe, and Edgecombe only played the one game, but he was by far the best player. Jalen Hood-Schifino has been the guy who's been helping this cause the most, right? And if you have him, the first game, it was like he had 8 assists. This game he had, the points. He was carrying them in the first half, right? So to me, this is what he needs to do to show that he could make a roster, or at least make the 76ers roster on that final spot. Now, again, it's going to be a crowded backcourt, but at the same time, you look at him and you say, okay, do what you can, young man. So he's been the most not surprising, but the most positive story outside of Edgecombe coming out of the Summer League.
Yeah, I was thinking of your boy Salas as well, getting in the game last night. He is the, I believe, second cousin, you said, of James Harden. Do I have the right guy?
Let me tell you this. So this is how the deal goes. So James Harden's mom and James Harden's father and his mother are first cousins. But not only that, he's also related to Irvin Fryer. He's related to Roger Craig. Like, if you look up his mom is the GOAT. Like, his mom played in the WNBA.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. 10 years after she retired, she came back and wanted to try out for the WNBA. Oh, yeah. He comes from good stock, man. He comes from, great stock. Yeah. So he got Harden. It's about 5 or 7 guys. Like, I'm like, dang, what's up with this family? And the funny thing is, the high school that the mom went to, and the reason why I know all this, because I have a really good friend who's from Omaha, Nebraska, and he took me there. So she went to Central Omaha, right? Central Omaha was the high school that Gail Sayers went to, and Bob Gibson, the pitcher, right? Amon Green, who played for the Green Bay Packers, was a tailback. So, it's like it's this community in Omaha. Like a historically black community is like the one that they come from, but it's kind of like that's where all the athletes come from. So I'm an Omaha nerd. Forgive me, and keep up with the history. Dude, I'm telling you, that was a bucket list going to that high school.
I don't know if there's a Locked On Omaha, Keith, but I'll talk to our bosses. And we'll get that going. We'll just do the Omaha podcast. That's what we'll lock into. All right. When we come back, we just talked about some of the positive. Oh, one more name when it comes to the positive. I know you mentioned this in our short, but Judah Mintz led the team in scoring with 21 points. Also had 4 rebounds, 7 of 12 shooting. Not so bad.
Impressive. He was impressive.
He absolutely
second half.
Yes. But when we come back, we got some Kyle Lowry news we're obviously going to talk about.
Yeah.
But just as some people might say, I'm going to put myself into this, Keith. I'm not going to say you. I'm just going to out myself here. I may have a tendency to overreact. I am an emotional person. Speaking of the stock people come from, I come from an emotional people. But when watching this particular player yesterday, not so great. Not so great. And it is a little eyebrow raising considering how much the Sixers are going to need him to be better this upcoming season. We'll talk about that when we return. This is a live taping of Locked On 76ers. We're going to get some comments in here. Jason, I see you. 3-time, I see you. Phil W, I see you. We'll get you guys involved as well as the show goes on. This is Locked On 76ers on the Locked On Sixers YouTube channel. Back after this. You guys have heard us talking plenty about FanDuel and how incredible FanDuel is. Makes the game that much more exciting. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights or golf on the green, maybe some high-stakes soccer action or football, if you're talking the international game. FanDuel, the best way to make every game more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned on the beach. This summer, been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotion and fun ways to bet. Easy to use, fast payouts, most importantly. It makes the game, whether it's a regular season game, a playoff game, whatever, that much more exciting. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. So, Keith, one thing I really appreciate about the Summer League is that you have to have 10 fouls to foul out of the game. Mm-hmm. Yet we still have replay. So, whatever. That's another conversation. But 10 fouls. They figure, well, they're not going to foul out of the game. We'll just give them 10 fouls. Everybody gets to work. So, Adem Bona in game 1, 8 fouls, but looked athletic, looked good other than those 8 fouls. By the way, 7 of them came in the second half. So, maybe a little gassed and too much. I don't know. Last night, 6 fouls, Keith. 6, and he looked terrible. The Sixers are really going to need him in the upcoming season. I'm not going to lose my mind over it. I'm just saying, Keith, a little concerning about Adem Bona through the first 2 games, all the foul trouble.
Yeah, I wouldn't concern myself with it because here's the thing. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. So, if you were playing, right, and they told you, hey, look, bro, they're going to let you foul, get all these extra fouls. So you don't have to worry about fouling out of the game. And you mean to tell me I can whack somebody? I can do whatever and I'm still going to play? Yeah. Don't worry about it. Dude, that's why he's fouled more. That's why he fouled more. Because it's kind of like to a point where, okay, I can gamble. I can work on things. I can do this. Now, typically, if he got picked up 2 fouls early in the game, normally it's kind of like, oh man, I can't gamble anymore. Mm-hmm. I have to use my head. I have to be smart. But now it's like, I'm good until I get up to 8 fouls. Once I get 8 fouls, then all of a sudden I got to relax a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
I get it. I get it. Here's more so where it's coming from. It's not just the fouls. It's the idea of having to foul or feeling like you need to foul. And he's in it. Look, Adem Bona to me is an NBA player. I know it's 1 year, but I thought it was a good year for a second-round pick, something certainly to build on. The problem for me is he's going up against that guy last night, Sissoko, who is not an NBA player. He's a big body. He could be a bully. He's definitely a power, on the blocks. But he's going up against a guy like that he can absolutely out athletic And to see like a 6-foul game, and also that guy at times take him to task and also keep him very much under wraps last night. That's more to me where I'm like, okay, look, if you're a center and you're playing in the NBA, you're a backup center, you'd love to be on the 76ers right now because you know Joel Embiid's not playing that much. So for me, that's more so what I focus on than just the fouls, like the idea of the foul or the idea of needing to foul. And then I thought throughout the night, just basically being outplayed.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I honestly feel like it was just, sometimes you get a bad matchup. I mean, when we look at him, we got to be honest. He's an undersized guy. This guy, as big as he was, they had some like big dudes out there who were also pretty good defenders, right? So, I'm not really concerned with that. Like, the thing that really, and I'm not going to say is super duper concerning to me, but Justin Edwards, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here and I'm watching him and I'm looking at my man shoot 33.3% from the field, right? I mean, I know he's averaging 12 points. He's averaging 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, but he's also averaging 4 turnovers to go with just 1 steal, right? So, to me, again, you try not to put too much stock into Summer League, but after a guy has a poor performance the first game, you want to see how he bounces back, and he didn't really bounce back well at all, and he's only shooting 33%. And, he's supposed to be the leader of this team, right? Of all the guys there, he had more action than anybody with the 76ers last year. I mean, we could talk about Edgecombe, but Edgecombe really start playing when the team start tanking.
Yeah.
But Justin Edwards was in the rotation, when they were still trying to win. So, to me, he's averaging 30 minutes a game, which is a lot, right? He's playing more than most players, and he's only shooting 33.3%. So to me, that's a little concern, more so than Edgecombe hacking up everyone and being out of position and doing all this other stuff.
So I'll put it to you like this. You want to see the guys that are going to be NBA players look like NBA players against guys that are just trying to become NBA players. That's kind of how I look at it. Other than that, Keith, I think, we got to, while we're on it, VJ Edgecombe, obviously injury prone, so it's not going to work out here. Edgecombe probably should get cut, and Justin Edwards, they should rescind the contract. Based on these 2 Summer League games, that's where we're going with this. In case people didn't pick up on my sarcasm, I was trying to lay it on pretty thick.
Yeah, you were. So then last year, you probably said Jared McCain is trash. Like, get him out of here. He's a bum. But you know what? I'm going to say this about Jared McCain, though. I'm going to be real with you. So last year, when we were talking to him, I asked him something, and he was like, yeah, I'm having a tough time adjusting to the NBA three-pointer. Like, what? So he's like, yeah, I got to get used to it. So I'm saying to myself, like, bruh, like, if you're having a hard time adjusting to that, it's going to be a long year, because the reason being is because typically, kids who aspire to be in the NBA, at least the sharpshooters, they're always jacking from everywhere. And this guy came out and said that. And I'm like, uh-oh. But then once the regular season hit, he's like, but yeah, when he said that last summer, I was like, this could be a long year.
And unfortunately, it was a very short year for Jared McCain for another reason. There was one comment I wanted to get in here. It was great. It was go along with what you were saying. Here we go. Matum. Sorry. Keith makes perfect sense. Foul, baby, foul.
Yeah. I mean, could you see? Look, they're lucky I'm not out there. But see, I wouldn't be out there because I'm like,
bring that Frankfurt out
told
there.
Me that, especially if we were playing the Utah Jazz again, we got to play them again. They're talking all that crap. Yo, somebody would be leveled at least 2 times, right?
You can take the kid out of Frankfurt. You can't take the Frankfurt out of the kid.
One
more. Here we go. 3 times says, I agree, Keith Edwards should be better. There we go. We're not losing our minds. All we're saying is I'll be better than this. Clarence is saying not running plays, and they tested him out at the guard a little more. I think that's it. Edwards being a little bit more.
Yeah, but still, the thing is, I get it. I understand that, Clarence. And but my thing is, and again, we put a lot of stock in summer league, and sometimes you shouldn't, because you're right, they're not running plays, and I get the altitude thing, but I just would like to see more aggressiveness, more production on the offensive end. Like, he is the guy. Right. VJ Edgecombe is the number 3 pick, but he's the one who has the most experience, and he should be dominating some of these dudes, because these games are essentially G League games with some overseas players, right? So that's all I'm saying. I like to just see a little bit more production. That's it.
Fair enough. Turtle Tunes is saying, hey, just saying good morning. What's up? And Philly Dog 2024. Why are we talking load management with a 19-year-old? Why? Playing him at the park. You jam your thumb, you shake it off. Sprain your ankle, you walk it off. Play the next game, shake my head. Keith, abundance of caution. Not from my man, Philly Dog, unfortunately.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm with you, Philly Dog. I am. but nowadays, it's a different animal, man. It's different. Like, I mean, back in the day, we would get laughed at. Like, what you mean, bro? You can't play? Oh, he's soft. No, I'm not soft. Let me play. And I'm talking about you doing that to, like, with a messed up, really sprained, very extremely bad sprained ankle. You taping it up and you playing, hobbling up and down the court. Now they look at these guys as investments, and they don't want anything to go south. Go left. So with that being said, they're just going to be cautious. I honestly think that, and it could be something like, again, I'm not there, but it's one of those things when you look at it, they have an amount of games that they want this guy to play, right? If he goes out, he plays well, let's do this. Let's rest him a little bit. We're going to showcase him in the NBA Summer League in Vegas. That's what the league really wants him to shine in. They want him to be the man. So with that being said, I'm not for it, but I understand the load management. I do. I
got you. All right. Hey, one more guy we got to talk about. We haven't mentioned him yet, but a guy you've talked about a lot, Kyle Lowry, back in the fold for a 20th season. We'll break that down when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. And just like that, we're back. 20 season for Cardinal Dougherty's own Kyle Lowry will be coming back. He will turn 40 in March. Did not play a lot last year. Also one of the Sixers that was injured, but also known as one of the great leaders on the team and all that. Keith, I know you've been talking about this when it comes to mentorship, especially for another young guard in VJ Edgecombe. What are the realistic expectations when it comes to a 39-year-old Kyle Lowry after a disappointing 19th season in the NBA? What are the realistic expectations for him as a Sixer going forward?
Like my man 3 times just said, I think Lowry is really getting paid to coach. That's the expectation. You give him some opportunities to play in certain games, but like we've been talking about this since you've been on this podcast, for like a month now.
Yeah, a little over.
Kyle Lowry is here to be a coach. Like, he's here to basically develop the young guys. He's there to be a coach in the locker room. Now, again, he's making $3 million, right, with the veteran minimum. You could say, well, if you want to make him a coach, then hire him on the staff. Well, he's not going to make $1 million as a coach. So basically, this is the trade-off. And then also, you have him there in the huddle, in the locker room, doing everything that he can. That's what it is. So, and I get it. People are saying to themselves, like, but this is a roster spot that they're using. Why can't you get a younger guy for that? Well, the 15th man on the roster spot is not going to play. He's not going to play at all, right? So this is why you got Kyle Lowry for that spot. And what his realistic expectation is, when Tyrese Maxey comes out of the game, Tyrese Maxey is going to sit next to Kyle Lowry, and Kyle's going to go over the game, what he did right and wrong. The same thing for VJ Edgecombe. The same thing for Jarrett McCain. And so that's what it is. He's going to be that guy. I mean, we saw it with, I keep saying we saw it with the Miami Heat, a couple years ago with Udonis Haslem. You saw it with the Indiana Pacers with James Johnson, right? So this is what's happening nowadays in the NBA. You get these older players, and especially Kyle. We're talking about a 6-time All-Star, an NBA champion, an Olympic gold medalist. He's going to give his wisdom to the guys. And I get it. Everyone's concerned about the roster spot. But that's what they're doing nowadays.
I can understand the frustration in doing it. And I love the idea of Kyle Lowry still being on this team, the whole Philadelphia thing. It's a great story and all that. But I think when people look at the guard spot, it's very similar to what it was last year in terms of Eric Gordon is back. Now Kyle Lowry's back. Both of them are another year older. It didn't work out last year. Why are they repeating this? And then you also compound it with you have all these guards still after signing Eric Gordon again, and they're still looking at Gershon Yabusele like, hold on a second, you still need another power forward that could shoot from the outside. And you're relying on some younger guys to try to do that, or some other guys like Watford, for instance, trying to revitalize their careers a little bit. I could understand why a $3 million coach kind of hits the ear wrong for a lot of 76ers fans. Do you understand that frustration coming from a lot of fans?
Yeah, I understand it. I understand it completely, especially when fans are looking at the 76ers and saying, dang, man, you guys could have signed Yabu. Now, I'm pretty sure Yabu wanted more than the minimum, and I'm pretty sure that's what they offered Yabu, because that's what they offered Trendon Watford. But yes, I understand that. I do. But I also understand where the 76ers are coming from, because the reason why I'm saying that is because I've been in the locker room, and I've seen with my own eyes how important Kyle Lowry is to the locker room. I've been on the road, and I've seen how, Tyrese Maxey, comes down and sit next to him. Or even when the team was tanking, how, Kyle could have easily said, you know what, y'all, I'm done. Like, my season is over with. I'm just going to go and hang out with the family, right? But no, what he did was he was there, and the whole time he was coaching up the young guys. So to me, it's vital, and that's the way the NBA is going. See, another thing we got to realize is you have more players now than you did in the past. So you have 15 regular players, and then you have 3 two-way players. You got 18 dudes on the roster now. So with that being said, you're looking at Kyle as, hey, we're not going to play all these guys, so we need you to be the roster guy. I mean, to be the coach. Now, here's a question though, too. Name me, and I get it. Kyle's about to be 40. This is his 20th NBA season. Name me a pure point guard on a team that's better than him at this particular time.
Yeah.
Totally. That's that's the deficiency that they had. So it's kind of like, okay, we don't have a point guard, a real point guard. So we don't have one that's better than him, even at his age. So we need somebody that's going to help him, that help these guys. And who knows? They may insert them in certain games. You never know. But at the same time, the bigger problem to me is the fact that they don't have a true point guard on this roster. And that's part of the reason why they looked so horrible yesterday in Summer League, because they had no one who can get them in their sets, no one who can help Justin Edwards get easier shots. So that's what they need. That's what they need.
Also, some breaking news here along the same lines as Kyle Lowry getting signed. The Sixers just signed Michael Cage. He's going to be a coach for Joel Embiid, showing him how to move for limited mobility. Also, veteran.
Does he still have a Jerry curl though?
He's still got the Jerry. He's still got it, man. It's flowing, brother. It's flowing. He's one of my favorite all-time random 76ers. Anyway,
yeah, I know. And that was random too, wasn't it?
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Folks, let me see here. There we go. And I agree with this. Batum is saying, thanks for explaining the point guard, Keith, concerning Kyle Lowry. food for thought. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Oh, wow. How about this? Wait, we got another Michael Cage reference. Cage's final game, January 17th, 2000, a 96-101 loss to the 76ers. There we go.
Yeah. Wow.
I've been out Michael Caged, my friend. I've been out Michael Caged. How about that? Keith, we'll be back at it tomorrow as well for another edition of Locked On 76ers. So we look forward to that. We will sit now. Keith and I both said we do not expect VJ Edgecombe to play in tonight's game. So here's hoping we're both wrong. I was
a little disappointed though, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna get to see my man play. Like I want to see him play. And then all of a sudden you're like, really, dude? And then you're watching the game and you're like, this is why I hate summer league basketball. I mean, it's horrible.
I'm with you. Yeah. It was absolutely terrible. I've seen more chemistry with guys that just met each other for a pickup game at the park. It was awful. Yes, exactly. Thanks everybody in the chat for participating in the show. We appreciate that. Make sure you guys like and subscribe on Locked On 76ers. He's Keith Pompey. Make sure you guys are reading all his stuff on Inquirer.com. I'm Marc Farzetta. I'll be back with you guys later today for Locked On Eagles Squad podcast at noon, and then Locked On Phillies postcast following the Phillies playing Game 2 against Robbie Ray and the San Francisco Giants tonight, 9:45 start time. And oh boy, Taijuan Walker playing. Or pitching, I should say, sort of. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Marc Farzetta, Keith Pompey. We'll catch you guys later on.